Bonjour, ici Micheline Bourque, je suis au Congrès ICF-Québec. I'm very pleased to be here and I'm very honored to meet you. You're the first person that I talk to that is an expert in neuroplasticity. So I'm with Irena O'Brien, who was a guest. Did you host a workshop or was it a conference?
I hosted a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the title of your workshop was absolutely captivating. Can you tell us a bit about that workshop? Name it and tell us what you taught all of. When I got into the room, they were totally hypnotized. So tell us what you were talking about this morning.
So the title was Neuroplasticity: How to Create Change That Lasts Over the Long Term. So neuroplasticity is how the brain rewires itself based on experience.
Okay.
And the whole trick is that we can self-direct our neuroplasticity because all of our experiences, all of our environment creates micro changes in the brain from the womb even. And now that we know how neuroplasticity works, we can make an effort to direct our own neuroplasticity. So once something is wired in the brain, it can last for the long term. So some of the principles that we learned today were that there needs to be a goal. Mm-hmm. There needs to be effort, and there needs to be repetition.
Okay.
And the thing is that if you stop doing the practice, then the brain changes can reverse.
Okay, right. Now, I'm very interested in this area. What brought you to become interested and really dive into a deeper level of understanding of neuroplasticity? Because it's quite recent, from my understanding, that we've discovered this aspect of the brain which we didn't think could actually be so flexible and that we could actually have power over it.
Yeah, so I went into some of the history of neuroplasticity, and it's actually been around for about 50 years.
50 years already?
Yeah,
okay.
It's only now that we're starting to look at how we can use it.
Yeah.
And so some of the promising things are virtual reality, for instance. They're doing amazing work with virtual reality and eliminating bias, creating empathy, and you can do that with virtual reality. So you asked me how I got into this work, right? So I mean, my interest is neuroscience.
Right.
Neuroplasticity is just one of the things I talk about. So my first career was as a chartered accountant.
Is that right?
Yeah, and then after my third child was born, I went back to university, and I took my first neurobiology course.
Right.
And I felt like my brain had been let out of a box. I was hooked, and I went all the way up to doing a PhD in psychology with a focus on neuroscience. Like I did brain imaging studies, I've done EEG studies.
Wow.
And it's just been a love that I've had ever since.
Have you been able, because of this expertise that you've developed over years, have you been able to spread the news outside of Canada? Have you been traveling with this for...
I have from time to time, and I have a wider audience. Like I have my own program, the Neuroscience School.
Oh, really?
Where I provide training and information to coaches and other wellness professionals. And I have people in my program from South Africa, Australia, United States, Norway, Belgium,
amazing.
The UK. Yes.
We forgot to mention that you're based here in Montreal.
I am based here in Montreal.
There's not that many of you around.
Who do what I do? No.
No, I wouldn't think so. Would you agree with me that the time is coming where we would like to see that kids learn at a very early age how the brain functions?
I hadn't really thought about that, but I think that there's some basics that we can teach them. You know, how they really are in charge of their own brain, right? And so that's why you have to be careful about your habitual thoughts and your habitual activities, because everything you do habitually will wire the brain to make it even easier for you to do that.
Right. Okay. Can you perhaps name a few people who have inspired you? It could be authors, it could be other prominent leaders in that field.
Oliver Sacks is one. Oliver Sacks wrote Oliver Sacks wrote, he was a neurologist and
Right.
he collected unusual cases.
All right.
And I don't know if you know, he wrote The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat.
No, I have not
And
heard of that one.
So in his book, he described a man who couldn't recognize his wife, but
Okay.
when he looked at the person, he could tell you what color the eyes were, what color the hair was. He could tell you all these separate features,
Right.
but because of his brain damage, he couldn't put them together to recognize his wife. And do you remember that movie, Robin Williams and the Parkinson's patients, where they got them to
Awakening or something like that?
Awakening?
Yes.
Well, Robin Williams played Oliver Sacks.
Okay,
yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
How can people reach you? How can they learn more about you? Do you have a website?
I do.
Can you name it for us, please?
So it's neuroscienceschool.com.
It's based here in Montreal?
It's based here in Montreal.
You have a web program?
I have a web program.
Okay,
yes.
great.
And the other thing too is that I don't have CEUs credits right now, but I will in the future. I am working on that. Yeah,
Excellent.
to offer CEU credits.
Well, I wish you continued success. I'm very happy to know that this expertise is building up here in Montreal. Thanks for dropping by. I know it's not your favorite thing to do interviews, but you did a great job, and I hope people will learn from you. Irena O'Brien, and the name of your website again?
NeuroscienceSchool.com.
There you go. You have it all. Thank you very much, Irena.
Okay, thank you.